I was cast and started shooting for a movie called Damini.
Yeah.
And there were issues, and I was asked to step out of the movie. And other very leading actresses were offered the role instead of me, and they all supported me and said, no, we feel something is very wrong if we accept this proposal. It was an actual kiss.
Yeah.
And it was a little nerve-wracking for me because I'm very conservative. And after my first movie, Painter Babu, where I wore pretty revealing clothes, I didn't even feel like repeating that.
Yeah.
So a kiss was something pretty extreme. But the shot never got seen by the audiences because the censors cut it. Rishi ji, I think is amazing because he has worked with people of so many different generations and made them feel absolutely at home. Very honest with me. You would say, Meenakshi, कभी-कभी तुम्हारा dance मुझे समझ में नहीं आता. तुम्हारा भरतनाट्यम कम करो.
Hello everyone, I'm Rudrani and welcome to Zoom Speak Easy. Today my guest is someone that you've loved for many years. She was courageous back then because she tried to do roles that were meaty at a time when there weren't enough roles being written for her. She's seen the industry work with the biggest of stars, and at a time when she wanted to take a break, she did that, and here she's back again. I'm of course talking about the very talented Meenakshi Seshadri. Hello.
Hi.
Thank you for doing this.
Yes, my pleasure.
I gave an apt introduction, didn't I? Because at a time when you had started, you really had to fight to get beyond the song and dance routine. और आपने वो किया था उस वक्त. Tell me, how did you manage to balance that out? Because commercial cinema चल रहे थे, लेकिन बीच-बीच में we could see that you were trying to break the mold. And how difficult was it for you to get those kind of roles?
International Day of the Woman is just around the corner, and this is a very timely question because role of women in cinema in India was relevant then, is relevant today also. At that point of time, I was fortunate to catch the attention of veteran filmmakers like L.V. Prasad, Subhash Ghai, Sohanlal Kanwar, who felt that I had what it takes to fill out a role on a long basis, you know, not just 4 scene में हैं और climax में भी दिखते हैं और 3 अच्छे गाने हैं जिसमें glamorous कपड़े हैं. So to get out of that format, I did a movie called Swati, which was all about empowerment of women and why should there be a chauvinistic society in India. So I think that laid the path. That made people in the future taking me in their films think कि if L.V. Prasad gave a girl who's barely 2 years into her movie making career a role like that, then उसमें वो दम होगी. कुछ तो बात है. तो जो बात मुझे भी अपने आप में उतनी confidence नहीं थी, filmmakers showed that confidence in me, so movies followed. I did a lot of family-oriented subjects, really where you had more chances of performance and challenging scenes. I did an interesting double role where one of them was a vamp. I did a role of a woman who's married but decides to go back to her old sweetheart while still married. So I did kind of very interesting roles for that period of time. Of course, I could not escape those action movies. वो बीच-बीच में पिरोते हुए मैं आगे निकलते गई, and when I finally did Damini, which maybe you want to talk about later, but I'll just mention it briefly, it was exciting for me that somebody had thought of writing a film like that.
One of my favorite films.
So, I mean, we've had movies like Dr. Vidya, Sadhana, and all made in the 50s and 60s. And then, बीच में कहीं ना कहीं, for some reason, either lack of the right filmmakers or writers not thinking that way, those roles never got conceived. So they never got written or made. And all the women were languishing on the roadside, all the actresses. And when I come back now after 27 years, I was hoping कि I would see many movies in this 27 years which would be one after another कि क्या रोज लिखे women के लिए. And I can count them still few and far between.
Which is why I wanted to start with this question. And now I'm going to take you back to the memory lane. So I hope, ma'am, you're ready to go back then with me and talk so much more, because I think your life, your journey is in a way so interesting, and I think a lot of people can learn so much from it. Young actors who are joining in can, learn so much from you. So let's go right back there.
Okay.
When you started, you of course come from a family who believes in knowledge and making sure that you were doing your dance and everything. Everybody knows that you're so accomplished with so many different forms of dance. But I want to know, how was it for you coming from a family that wasn't really completely aware of how this world is going to be? बहुत मुश्किल होता है जब लोग बाहर से आते हैं इस दुनिया में, और especially for women.
The first part of your question is my family being a traditional South Indian conservative family, believing in education and culture. It took some convincing when I got a film offer where I made no effort, and the offer came by itself to me. And I told them कि filmmaking कैसे होती है, let me at least do one movie. Which was Painter Babu. And midway I got the offer of Hero, and they all said, Subhash Ghai is a good filmmaker, maybe you should do this. But uske baad there was no looking back. They had 2-3 conditions, my parents. They first of all told me that we don't want you to go anywhere alone, ever. Doesn't matter how confident you feel about it. And I was quite happy. I said, I'm very young, I'm just 17. I would like mummy or daddy or didi, somebody to be with me. The second thing was, they did not want me to stop studying. So I had just finished my 12th class. They said, ki BA karo, if that's what you like. And so I did it. Along with my acting, I was an external student. And many years later, I went back and did my MA too. Out of my own, love for studying and giving exams. And the third thing they told me is that, we've given you certain values and certain convictions, and we hope that doesn't ever change for you. And we feel it's for your own good and your own protection that you follow them. And they didn't really need to tell me that, on my own I was that kind of a person. So coming to the second part about battling a very different kind of atmosphere on the sets, where anybody could hit on you if it looked like you were easy and willing. And I think what helped me was my innocence. Genuinely, I was very, not at all worldly about such things, and that helped me. I think people just stayed away saying कि नहीं यार ये तो बच्ची की तरह है, let it go. So I had a marvelous 16 years, and many times if people were trying to act smart with me, I did not even understand they were,
we talk about how casting couch was a thing forever. And even now during Me Too, so many people come out and say that. Did you have to go through it? और आपने किस तरह से वैसे awkward situations that women are often put in workplace, which is very, very unfair, उनको कैसे deal किया था उस time पे?
मैं सीधे बात करती हूँ और बहुत दिल से प्रेम से बात करती हूँ. I genuinely like and respect anybody who is in front of my eyes. तो उनकी बातें या behavior भले मुझे ठीक ना लगे, I will not judge them. अगर किसी ने सामने से कहा कि come on, hang out with me, and why don't you come to my room in the evening,
which has happened, obviously,
which can happen and which has happened, my immediate response would be कि आप मेरे लिए इतने अच्छे दोस्त बन चुके हो कि मैं I cannot indulge anything else. If we can continue to stay friends, fantastic. Bas, that's it, end of matter. I did not discuss it after that, and nobody came back to me again.
We're talking about your family, and मुझे पता है कि a lot of people might know this, might not know this, that your real name is Shashikala. And I know Manoj Kumar had kind of had a role in this changing into Meenakshi, and by the time I think when you were here already, most of the people refer to you as Meenakshi. I think in Hero you already were Meenakshi by then. But why, for people who don't know and find this interesting, I think आपको ये कहानी बतानी चाहिए.
बहुत सिंपल सी कहानी है. साउथ इंडियन फैमिलीज़ में एक परंपरा है जहाँ बच्चों को सिर्फ एक ही नाम नहीं दिया जाता, दादा देते हैं, नाना, दादी, नानी, आंट, अंकल, सब लोग अपने अपने तरफ से एक नाम दे देते हैं, फर्स्ट नेम। तो मेरे दादाजी ने उस साल बहुत पॉपुलर बड़ा मंदिर है मदुरई में, मीनाक्षी टेम्पल, ही वेंट देयर for the installation of the golden abhishek. On top they have the kumbh or whatever you call it, and he said अगर लड़की पैदा हुई तो मीनाक्षी नाम रखना। मेरी मम्मी की जिद थी कि बड़ी बेटी का नाम निर्मला है और मैं चाहती हूँ कि मेरी दोनों बेटियाँ मेरे नक्शे कदम पे they go ahead and become a dancing duo and they perform Bharatnatyam together. So I need a nice rhyming name. So Nirmala Shashikala. So that's how I got to be Shashikala. मनोज जी रिक्वेस्टेड कि और एक अच्छी एक्ट्रेस ऑलरेडी काम कर रही हैं इसी नाम से, तो then मैंने कहा तो then I like Meenakshi. I always loved that name which my Dadaji gave me. But that was you have people like Chunky and Chintu. You have all those nicknames, Sunny. Yeah. They don't have their real names. So I also had a nickname. We even considered that.
Really? What was that?
My nickname is Cherry.
Cherry. It's such a sweet name.
Yeah, and nobody calls me Shashikala or Meenakshi at home.
Oh, really? It's Cherry.
Cherry.
With adorable.
With all my school friends, all my neighbors from the past.
Oh, I love that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I have to think of it. Cherry Seshadri.
It's kind of cool though.
Very cool, no?
Yeah, it is. But I love Meenakshi as well, I think. Both of it. But very, very sweet. What was the atmosphere on sets? Because I talked to actors today, someone in the 90s, and they talk about how there were such less women on sets. There were mostly men. And it was true that the male actors used to be given more preferences, used to have more attention, and you all had to follow call time, and there were no scripts. Very less scripts. You had to manage through all of that. You'll be giving lines as is. And there was a certain, difference in the way the male actor and the female actor were being treated, even on the sets. So could you elaborate and tell us your experience, what you went through?
I've always been a person who not only enjoyed being in front of the camera, but also behind the camera. Not as a person who knew what I was doing, but I would be with the cameraman, asking them how things worked. I would walk around, talk to the lightmen. I would talk to the direction assistants and talk to them about what was happening when they were doing their story sittings. So every time, I think the directors and producers saw that I was a very hardworking, very curious, and a person who was really enjoying the whole process. So I never ever felt कि मुझे अपने मेल को-स्टार्स के कॉन्ट्रास्ट में कुछ ट्रीटमेंट अच्छी नहीं मिल रही है या कम अटेंशन मिल रही है. I'm sure they were paid much more than me. Okay, but on the sets मुझे हमेशा ऐसा लगा कि the directors had a soft corner for me. There were directors who would ask my opinion about dialogues. There would be directors who would ask me when they were placing the camera. तो मेरी कुछ एक अलग equation थी, which is I put it totally to my passion for fine arts and learning. तो मतलब shot के बीच में भी मैं I won't go to the makeup room. I'd sit on the sets even if it was hot. That was my work ethic. तो ये आप जो क्वेश्चन पूछ रहे हैं ना, about the male centric, too many males, hardly any females. All that was there, but for me, in my private universe, I had a ball. I had a great time. I never felt
alienated,
diminished or alienated in any way. But one thing, when you are saying this, I want to bring a different point here, if I may. So this is something about then and now. At that time, you would also ask me कि stereotyping होती थी roles की, characters की. तो giving you like some examples, like Chintu ji, Rishi Kapoor ji was given this sweetheart, romantically chocolate boy thing, and he was getting stuck in that. Amit ji was given this angry young man and that kind of thing, still romancing some very young people. And he was getting stuck in that. And then they both great actors felt the need to come out of that mold, take a break, and return again. And then you had Rishi ji, maybe in Agneepath, the role that he did. And he was amazing. And and Karan Johar gave him that opportunity. And so, what was there in his eyes in that movie? Now I see it in his son's eyes when I see a movie like Animal. Now I feel that this concept of stereotyping and just giving the same role, rehashing it over and over again, has kind of gone. Now people are actually thinking of characters, performances, newness, thinking out of the box. And I'm so excited I'm back here at this time. It's like a mini renaissance.
It's great.
Mini, but a good one.
Yeah.
I mean, in connection with this, you can even say, let's compare South and Mumbai films. So you have films made in several languages nowadays, with this pan-India concept.
Sure.
So you have Hindi mein film bani, and then the alternative languages will never be Punjabi, Bengali or Gujarati. They will be those four South
Tamil,
Indian
Telugu,
languages. And
Malayalam.
why? Why is South so big? And it's because they always believed in characters, really good scripting. Director is the supreme person. And even if the heroes and heroines got revered with temples dedicated to their names, they owed it to those characters. Yeah? They were not typecast.
And you received so much love from, the cinema that you've done in Tamil as well.
Yes, I was fortunate. Tamil, K. Balachandar, and Telugu, K. Vishwanath. Amazing directors who taught me so much, about reinventing myself as an actress.
When you were doing, like I said, you yourself said that, of course, action film mein karna pada, beech mein. And this all actors do it. There are such few roles that are that meaty for women, but you have to survive to do the rest. You'll have to do masala movies. Sometimes you do it because, you know the actor, you know the director. Dosti mein haan, bahut bolna padta tha us time pe.
And sometimes because of the money.
Exactly. In fact, most people say most of the time because of the money, right? Because you have to survive. Like, you have bills to pay, you have so much to do. So tell me, how was that phase? Because मुझे लगता है वो tricky होता है.
When things look like they're not the best deal or things are a little bleak, कि oh बाप रे, इस साल मेरे 6 फिल्में आ रहे हैं and 6 के 6 I hate.
What?
I have gone through that.
I think we should take a few names that you don't like.
नहीं अभी नहीं
अभी
करो इंतजार.
अभी करो इंतजार. But is there a film that you really regret doing?
Oh, there are a few. Yes, there are. But see, what happens is, like, for example, the hero got to do all the action. So I did an example, a movie like Inam 10,000, where in the climax I get to shoot the villain, not the hero. And it takes somebody like a Sanjay Dutt who co-starred with me to be cool with that. That I liked. Those little bubbles of hope. All is not lost. People here have a sense of humor and a sense of awareness. It doesn't just take men to make the story work, it takes the women also. Or for example, I'll give you the example of women as dancers. The few male actors who were good dancers did very well professionally also. And if they were good in action, even better. Same thing applied to women. The dancers got some more traction and attention. And that is one thing I want to make a point of, is I'm so fortunate that I had that kind of training in 4 classical styles. And I had this inspiration from Vaijayanti Mala, Hema Malini, and even people who were my peers like Juhi, Aishwarya or Madhuri, who learned classical dance. And you can see that they're head and shoulders above many other performers. And not trying to put anybody down. So I think those were the sparks. The music and dance is so important in Hindi movies. And again, like, by the time I left, the songs were getting a little weird. like Sarkailo Khatiya and Gutter Gutter, all those kind of lyrics. Abhi the songs are also probably they get 2 lines and then they repeat those lines over and over again, and a song ban jata hai. So I'm hoping now I'm back. I'm like, dear God, please let good music prevail, because these are all the saving graces of the movie business. The fact that India loves and thrives on that entertainment.
जी बिल्कुल. You named such fantastic actors, but I know that उस time पे particularly, you know, people usually are always pitting female actors against each other, right? और उस समय पे social media ना होते हुए भी खबरें हमेशा आ जाती थी कि इनके साथ इनको बुरा लग रहा है, you know, you're being constantly compared with Sridevi, you were pitted against Madhuri and saying that, you know, maybe they don't get along well. There used to be those side of comparisons with a lot of your co-actors. I want to know, when you used to hear these rumors at this time.
No, seriously, I have had no controversial or conflicting issues with any of my co-stars, male or female. I really have to think कि कुछ भी नहीं निकलेगा, कुछ छोटा छोटा पुट चीज़ होगा, nothing of consequence.
Correct.
And the fact that we are counted as rivals or challenged to each other is good. I mean, you can't just keep seeing one person over and over again.
Yeah.
I wouldn't want to do that. Why should our audiences?
Fantastic.
I was cast and started shooting for a movie called Damini.
Yeah.
And there were issues, and I was asked to step out of the movie. And other very leading actresses were offered the role instead of me, and they all supported me and said, no, we feel something is very wrong if we accept this proposal. We cannot do it. Either she continues or we're sorry, we cannot oblige you. I felt that was the time my respect for each and one of those female colleagues of mine went shot up like this.
And who were they? The ones that you remember who called up and told you?
I know for sure Madhuri was one of them. I'm not 100% sure of other names, but there were others.
She's so fantastic, isn't it?
Yes.
But you brought up, you brought up Damini, which I of course have to say, it took a lot of courage. Aapne, of course, bola ki there were issues, and I think it took a lot of courage for you to stand up at that time. There were stories about the fact that, you got proposed by Rajkumar Santoshi and all of that during the time, and you apparently had said no, and that became the issue of why you were being ousted from the film. Maybe you would not do it. I think it becomes extremely taxing for someone like you who, knows that this film belongs to you because you worked hard for it, and when someone brings this personal equation into it, it is kind of affecting your career, and that is so unfair. I think that was courageous. How did you manage to deal with the time, and what actually happened?
The details of what actually happened, Santoshi ji and me and everybody involved decided not to talk about it. That I feel that it is water under the bridge.
Sure.
But the courage to stand up was not just to make a professional point. That was there.
Of course.
Of course. The courage to stand up was because I just felt that that was absolutely no reason that anybody should be told that they are not required anymore.
Yeah.
It had several implications, rules in the workforce, blah, blah, blah. And I think how I dealt with it was I kept quiet and just said that I will not choose to comment because it's below my dignity to try and make this into a fight. It is not a fight. I'm just standing up for what I believe in. And if things are going to work out, we will all work together as a team. And that is the kind of message I want to give to the film fraternity and the audiences. Yeah. I'm here to make a great film, which I thought Damini was definitely going to be. And I respect all the people involved with the film, especially Santoshi, because his vision was tremendous. That was my policy, and ultimately they say actions speak louder than words. So the Producers Guild, the Artists Guild, other well-wishers all got together and somehow helped make it happen.
Yeah. And look at where the film went.
And I think it is hats off to Santoshi that he did it. You know, my full regards to him for that.
You also got support from the producers, from Yash Chopra and everybody else. Did they also stand up for you?
Yes, that's what I said.
Yeah.
All the Producers Guild and the Artists Guild.
Damini turned out to be a career-defining film for you, obviously, and even till today, I mean, how can you forget Tariq Pe Tariq, right? I mean, that's one thing you look at. You look at Sunny Deol, you know that you'll remember that dialogue, and many more. The storyline was that way. It was touted to be this film that a lot of people truly admired you for, and it won you massive amount of recognition and awards. But I know at that time people didn't believe that it'll do well, right? Because they thought, a woman headlining it, being the strongest character in it, are people ready for it? Ki kaun jaake dekhega? Tell me how that was. Because, I mean, जब वो गलत हो जाता है ना, तो बहुत सारी चीज़ें, not just for you, for a lot of actors, female actors, it becomes a thing कि नहीं यार ऐसी फिल्में और बनाते हैं. नहीं, we have to show support for actors who are like you.
I think Damini was a movie which, from beginning to end, from inception till final release and audience response, everything just seemed to work. Now don't ask me what it is. This that there's some magic formula or whatever. But I think the creative synergy was so good between the whole teamwork, and especially the creators, director, writer. They were very astute that it is a woman-oriented film, but it needs to be balanced with some other things. So, but they did not just go and put in those crude comedy scenes or some sadak-chhap stupid dialogues to get audience attention. They kept it very classy. They kept it very forward-thinking. But they also kept it massy, when it comes to like Sunny Deol's dialogues and all. I mean, they're like applause-worthy, in fact, in a recent show, I complained a little bit. I said, मूवी का नाम दामिनी था, तालियां सनी लेके आ तारीख पे तारीख के लिए मैंने बोल सकती थी वो डायलॉग. So I'm just glad it was made, and I have that movie to show off to my kids.
Yeah, of course. You have so many movies with Sunny Deol that have done so well. Ghayal, Ghatak. I feel like you all worked so well as co-actors. So I want to know that experience. And now that Mr. Deol had another great sort of comeback at the box office that way, because with, of course, what we saw with Gadar 2.
My first movie with Sunny Deol was Dacait. I played this village girl, dark makeup. We had a romantic song in which we're both on a boat before the song starts, and he kisses me. Okay, it was an actual kiss.
Yeah.
And it was a little nerve-wracking for me because I'm very conservative. And after my first movie, Painter Babu, where I wore pretty revealing clothes, I didn't even feel like repeating that.
Yeah.
So a kiss was something pretty extreme. But the shot never got seen by the audiences because the censors cut it. But why I'm saying this is he was such a gentleman. He was so relaxed and so easy to work with that it went through so smoothly. And I think that's the reason why all the other movies I did with him, Ghayal, Ghatak and Damini, we had this very good equation and understanding with each other.
It's fantastic. Did you keep in touch over the years?
Sunny, in fact, I spoke with once when I was going to launch a stage production with dance. And I have wanted my co-stars to, give me their messages. And he was very sweet. In fact, he said something very cute. He said, Meenakshi, I know you're a great dancer, but not as good as me.
I love that. Co-stars you're fond of, which I'm sure, of course, Rishi ji. the late Rishi ji, and I'm sure there are a lot of memories that you particularly share right there. Tell us how, I know you became friends over the years. There is, of course, you all have done so many films together. How was that?
Rishi ji, I think, is amazing because he has worked with people of so many different generations and made them feel absolutely at home, which he did with me. And for some time, we also shared people who were working for both of us, helping us with our PR and stuff like that. And he lived so close by in Pali Hill. So I would just walk from my house to his house sometimes and say I'm coming over and just spend some time with him and Neetu ji. And that was, I think that he was the only actor with whom I could do that. Meet him off the sets also and so informally. Very honest with me. He would say, Meenakshi, कभी-कभी तुम्हारा डांस मुझे समझ में नहीं आता, तुम्हारा भरतनाट्यम कम करो.
But it's so interesting you say that because he was so utterly honest and right, all of that. In fact, I know that he had tweeted about you long time back, which is what, of course, talking about you and that, right, on Twitter, and that attention came back also. So I want to talk about that a little bit, how that happened. And
Rishi ji was one person with whom I had 100% comfort in asking him what he thought if I was going to make a comeback. And he was one person who, when I said, I'm just going to start Twitter, will you kind of, navigate me through this? Can you pass me some of your followers? He obliged. He was amazing. He never questioned, he never made excuses. He just helped or gave the right kind of advice. So I am very grateful to him.
which is, fantastic. Of course, I'm sure that, I'm sure you've spoken to Ranbir. There has been that family exchange. Tell me about that.
Ranbir and I actually do not know each other very well, but I hope to rectify that. Especially now since he's married and he's got a kid, and that's great.
Which is absolutely. We talk about co-stars. We'll have to mention Jaguda, of course. You started with Hero. It became a film that really put you out there. And he's again somebody who has his own unique style, right? And he continues to be. You see how he's reinvented him, stayed relevant and stuff. Let's talk about him and your memories and how you remember him and you talk to him even today.
The success of Hero could not be repeated, according to me, because the few films Jackie and I did after that, there were I think 3 of them, the audience didn't get what they wanted. They didn't get that romance, they didn't get the story of Jackie and Meenakshi. It became something else totally, somebody else's story. And I feel bad about that because I feel that with the right kind of films, he and I could have done some really nice movies together. He's one person I've reached out to after coming back, and he has been very sweet, inviting me many times for events in Mumbai and saying, why don't you come, so making me feel very included and, welcomed. And I think that's his unique quality.
I'm sure, but you've met the families, of course, both the son and the daughter, Tiger, Kishu, all of them. I'm sure, you've met them and you want to continue, like you said, now you're here, you want to meet your old friends and their families, isn't it?
My first innings, I did not really believe in making friends and hanging out with them, but this time around I do. There's another friend I really want to meet who is Sangeeta Bijlani.
Yeah, which is fantastic. It's lovely that you're here now and you have so many people that you knew from the past as well and you can reconnect, right? And I think at that time also when you were when you were right at the peak in the career and you decided, and which is great, right? At that time to actually very securely decide that I'm going to get married, I met Harish, and then go away. And meeting him also you did in a very simple way, right? And I know the story a little bit, but I think we should let the audience know as to what a cute story that is. You'd never think of an actor of your stature falling in love like that. It gives hopes to others, honestly. And then, of course, having a life in Dallas, being secure there, and then deciding to come back. I think all of it takes courage. Restarting always takes courage. So let's talk about that.
Well, with Harish, I would say that I was lucky that his sister was the person who got us together. She told me that he lived in New York when I was going to visit that city, and we decided to meet because I liked his sister so much. I said, "लड़की इतनी अच्छी है तो उसका भाई कैसा होगा?" And well, one thing led to another, and it was a tough decision to quit movies and India. I don't regret it at all. I have thoroughly enjoyed my life in the US. And now that I'm back, because kids are 25 and 21, and Harish has said, do what you want. And my children are like very eager to see me, doing what I'm passionate about.
Of course.
So I think it's all good. Yeah.
It's fantastic. What are the kind of roles that you're hoping that people come to you with? Because, this is the time. I mean, I'm sure now you feel that, if we had this kind of zest to really push actors who wanted to do some incredible work, you would have got even more roles than you did. So why don't we talk about that?
I'm a director's actress. I would like to work with people like Meghna Gulzar, Zoya Akhtar, Sanjay Leela Bansali. I would also love to work with Gauri Shinde. So these few people make me feel that, yes, I'm going to get something to do exciting and dramatic and challenging and surprising, maybe even scandalous. Who knows?
Who knows? But tell me one thing. At the time, you spoke about the kiss and how it was awkward at that time. Was there the fact that this is where I don't want, did you draw boundaries for yourself when it came to things like this, that this is the amount that I'll be okay with not really doing very intimate scenes on screen? Was that a thing that you discussed with the director at the time as well when it came to the script, or was that something that you had to tell them right in the beginning?
It was a good meeting point of my personal beliefs and the scripts that came to me. Nobody really asked me to do something which I had a hard time, dealing with. So I think I've been lucky.
You've been lucky, and which is great. You've also had Shahenshah, something that I think a lot of people also go back to. You worked with Amit ji, and we were talking about that. Let's go there before we come, because I think you have also done some roles that with him in those films that people really remember. And how do you look at those?
Anil Kapoor saw Shahenshah, and he told me, Meenakshi, इस फिल्म में तुम पटाखा थी. So I was like, okay, is that a good thing? He said, yes. So I guess that was the fact that when people could see me do a Damini, they could also see me do a Shahenshah. And I'm glad about that I had my feet on both kind of different genres.
Was your friendship with Amit ji also carried on for years after that?
Not really. No.
To have a career when you have films, when I say Damini, you exactly know what I'm talking about. You're talking about Shahenshah. Sometimes when you look back, are this the thing that you're really proud of, to have a body of work that people can refer to, and also the kind of films that your family has watched and enjoyed?
I'm glad that after 16 years and 80 feature films, I have films I'm proud of and which are remembered. Yes.
There's so much more to talk about. Probably we'll do a part 2 of this soon.
Sure, I'd love that. It's been great.
It's been wonderful to sort of nitpick you. There's so much more to talk about. But I think ending on this note, you did mention that it was Women's Day, and I think like a lot of women have to go through this, and I'm going to end it with this question. You can, paraphrase and tell me how you've dealt with all of that. Even today, actors have gone through their own shares of rumor stories, controversies, and come out victorious out of that. Like for example, sometimes you've been called Ice Maiden not because of who you were, because of random incidents. You've at sets been there've been people throwing stones at you saying because they didn't like a film. I remember there's a film like that. You've been through incidences like that, which I think a lot of actors go through. How have you dealt with all of that? With the rumors that come, whether it's a relationship rumor or anything like at that time, where do you derive the strength from? Because you've been through those situations.
I have a very simple life. I love my work, I do my best, and then I don't bring it back home. And I believe in myself. I have a very strong self-image. So anything which happens outside of me because of other people, audiences, colleagues, is just something I only respond to it if I feel that I need to improve myself in some way as a response to that. Otherwise, it's okay. Nothing bothers me.
Really? It's fantastic. I hope that all of us learn resilience from you and this sense of calm, because I think it becomes very, very difficult. But on that note, thank you so much. It's been wonderful chatting with you. I hope that we get to see you in so much, characters. I hope that we get to see you in so many characters, in so many interesting roles, and this is something that is celebrated. Is there something that you'd like to end it with?
I would just like to say, picture abhi baki hai.
Thank you so much, Meenakshi ji. It's been an absolute pleasure. Lots of love to you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you so much.